Welcome to the Gamescape, everybody. My name is Jeric, and today we're back in Phoenix Point. I wanted to do a quick wrap-up of the campaign and just talk a little bit about what went right, what went wrong. We're on the statistics screen at the end of the victory screen here, so we're going to take a quick look at this too. And so let's kind of dive into this a little bit. If we take a look at the world state, 73 surviving havens, 28 were destroyed. That's better than I thought, actually. I thought we would have lost more than that with the amount of area that we didn't cover. Surviving populations, just over half, which is what we saw on the Doomsday counter. 14 bases out of 19 activated, not too bad. We have 77 exploration sites revealed, 35 were still hidden on the map. Good. Considering we went with the Doomsday weapon, we have really good relations with everybody here. There were 3 citadels, 4 lairs, and 3 nests still on the map when we finished the game. A lot of those were going to be down around Antarctica and maybe South America and definitely around Australia, places where we just didn't have coverage. There's probably another one up in North America too, up around Alaska somewhere, because we never opened that Alaska base. Destroyed Pandoran colonies. We got 5 citadels, 9 lairs, and 11 nests. Enemies, we took down a bunch. New Jericho, 7. We beat up the factions a little bit. 22 New Jericho soldiers, 24 Synedrian soldiers. Now these were from storyline missions that we had to do, like the one where we had to rescue Ravi from the Synedrian Haven, or the ones where we were against both the Pure and the Synedrian, missions like saving Helena, where we were up against New Jericho. So we never actually raided any of the New Jericho or Synedrian, well, any of the faction havens for that matter. So all of this was just from missions where they just happened to be in the mission against us. So that was what it was. That's fine. 39 Pure cyborgs. We did 91 ancients, 84 hoplites. There's a lot of hoplites in those sites. 7 guardians, we did 7 sites. That makes sense. Disciples, we killed 25 of their soldiers. 12 scavengers, that's not very many. We didn't do many missions against the scavengers. Just maybe 1 or 2 scavenging missions, and then one of the ancients weapon sites was against the bandits. So, and then the Forsaken, they were around a little bit too, not too bad. Lots and lots and lots of Arthrons killed, almost 300, 43 captured, 184 Tritons, 57 Sirens. That's pretty good. We killed 6 Silas and captured 1. That sounds about right. That would have been about what I would have guessed if you would have asked me. A bunch of worms, a whole bunch of stuff there. Phoenix forces. We recruited 10 mutoids total. We got 9, you can read this. Yeah, total of 38 soldiers we recruited. You don't have to have me read that to you. We lost 7 soldiers. We'll take a look at them here in just a few minutes and go back to where we lost them a little bit, each one. 22 of our 38 soldiers reached level 7. 10 of these can't because they're mutoids, so they can only get to level 5. So that actually is 22 of 28 soldiers made it, which means the ones that were killed were basically the only ones that didn't. So that's good. We had 2 scarabs. We had 4 manticores total, if you count the gift. And we had 2 Helioses that we built. We didn't steal anything, so that's fine. Battles fought, whole bunch of stuff here. 21 Haven defenses, bunch of nests, bunch of lairs, 5 citadels. Sounds about, yeah. I wasn't sure about the citadels, but I guess that's about right. Several missions for the factions, ancients, etc. 44 total faction diplomacy missions, 61 total general missions. So that's good. Research and development. We did 68 projects. New Jericho got 18. Synedrian got 15. Disciples got 9. And I'm not sure if we did 18 of theirs. I think that's maybe what they researched. I'm not sure exactly what that means. Economy. I think we did really good on the economy. 108,000 materials and 23,000 tech and 65,000 food. Pretty good. 13,000 mutagens. That's a bunch. We needed a bunch for our mutoid soldiers though, so that's okay. We're going to talk about this. This is poor. Weapons, we built 6. This is all boring stuff here. We don't care about that. Augments, we had a total of 6 and a total of 4 bionics, so that's okay. So that's that. I don't know what time played means. That must be how long the Geoscape was running, 19 hours, 50 minutes. We were way, way longer than 19 hours, 50 minutes in this campaign. Game time was just under 3 months, it looks like, which is pretty normal for that. So we were into March. I think we were over 3 months. I don't know for sure. That might have been total actual playtime. That would be a lot more. I don't know. Well, we're at 100 episodes, basically 102 episodes total. Most of those were north of an hour. So we're probably, some of them were way north of an hour. I would guess we were probably 145 hours in, 150 hours into the campaign, maybe. Maybe not quite that much, but maybe 125, something like that. 125 hours in this campaign, total time elapsed, right? So that's us playing Geoscape, playing missions, everything. So anyway, that's what the statistics look like. We're going to hit the continue here. Okay, I have just loaded the beginning of episode 102. So this is the right at the start of the final episode where we were waiting to complete our research. So I just wanted to take a look around the map and talk a little bit about what I think went right, what went wrong, etc. Let's start with what could have been better. Number one, and I think this one kind of hurt us. It made things harder anyway, is we should have gotten on the Ancients missions much, much earlier than we did. And that's completely on me, obviously. But we got the Saving Helena mission in episode 7. We didn't run it until episode 21. And we didn't get our first labs completed until episode 33 when we got our first 4 done. But even then, after that, we didn't deploy probes until episode 49. So that's 16 episodes after the labs were constructed before we actually got... Oh, sorry, that was when the first mission we ran. That was when we ran the Maddock mission. The probes we didn't get out until episode 58. So 25 episodes after our labs were completed before we discovered our first ancient site. That was bad on my part. I just was focused on some other things. We absolutely should have been on it much earlier than we were. We should have been running those mission sites and the mission blueprint weapons. Sorry, one more time. The weapon blueprint missions, we should have been running much earlier. And maybe we wouldn't have gotten them all, right? Because a couple of them were in some really bad spots. You know, we had one down here. Another one was like up here. We could have gotten to these, but getting to this one down here would have been tricky. And so I don't know about that exactly, but it was definitely more doable than we did. And I think if we would have gotten in those sites earlier and we would have gotten the Ancients weapons in our hands earlier, things would have been a lot smoother. We didn't get the Ancients weapons, obviously, until right up at the end, episode 97 or 98 or something like that. I think we got our first Scorpion or first Rebuke built. So that would have made things a lot better. Second thing that probably could have been better, I think, and most of you probably agree, some of you have very vocally agreed, that I took too long to stop using the scarabs. I got rid of them when I felt like they weren't useful anymore. I probably should have made that decision earlier than I did. We picked up our first scarab, or we built our first scarab in episode 3 or 4, and I used them all the way up until episode 30 before I finally said, okay, they're pretty much not helping us out too much anymore. I could have gotten rid of them earlier. That probably would have gotten some of our soldiers a little bit more, a few more skill points, probably quite a few more skill points if I'm being honest, but it's okay. They actually did fine. You know, there was a couple of missions where we had some real trouble and we had to back out of a couple of missions, but for the most part, they did okay. And so it's what it is. They worked fine, especially early on. I probably did hang on to them too long though. So definitely could have done that. Third thing could have been better. It took us way too long to get down here to South America and really, really way too long to get to Antarctica. We had to take 3 different tries at coming down here to Antarctica. I should have just bit the bullet, opened up PHB 3 here and let the satellite uplink scan and find a way down from there. Because it really did take too long. But even so, even by the time we were able to reach this base, and we opened this base before we could actually reach it, and it got destroyed because of it. So I probably shouldn't have done that either. I should have just stuck with Phoenix Forward Command here, let things go, and worked our way out until we could get these sites down here. Even without the extended range of our satellite uplink, I think we could have found these sites or at least this one. And if we found this one, these would have came in too. It would New Jericho would have known about these two sites too. But you know, by the time we were actually able to get down here, all of these havens down here were destroyed. I mean, all of them. And so it was, here's one of those Pandora nests. Yeah. Here's another one here, Citadel. So, you know, it took us way too long to be able to reach down here even. And we never did get Alaska done either. And we really were late getting into North America just in general, I think. But we did end up getting down here because we had to do the I don't remember the name of the mission. It's one of the three that comes after the Symes Retreat mission. The name of it's escaping me at the moment, but it was one of the storyline missions. We had to get down here for that, but it took us too long to get a foothold in the Americas. That in itself wasn't the worst thing, but we could have been better at it. And then the fourth thing, I think, is that we could have ended the corruption earlier. This was the corrupted haven right here. And so we had Alpha Team loitering in the region, and we were even on our way. There was this particular Citadel here. The plan was to go with Alpha Team, come here, kill that, come down here, kill this, and, you know, maybe open this up. And we just ended up having to backtrack because something up here got attacked. And then we ended up going clear up here and doing the Danchev machine gun mission up here, and we just really got sidetracked away from finishing the corruption. We could have finished the corruption a lot earlier than we did, but that actually didn't really hurt us too bad. That was some mutagens that we had to pay longer, but we were doing fine for mutagens. That was okay. I was never hurting for mutagens except for when I was trying to get the bounty hunters trained up, and that's where I kind of want to start with going with what's right. What did go right with this playthrough. And that, my first thing and my number one thing was I was super impressed with how the Mutoid team performed. We built the bounty hunters. I got them all created. One of them was earlier, but the rest of the team was created in episode 31, and we put them into our training facility here in Phoenix Bravo. They trained until episode 43, and that's okay. That was when they hit level 5. All of them hit level 5. And we started getting them statted up by that. They were on their first mission on episode 50, I want to say it was. And I built them to be a capture team, Pandoran capture team. And they were specifically kitted out and statted to do that. But they handled every other mission that we put them through. I want to say they handled it with ease for the most part, really. You know, they had no trouble going into the ancient sites. They had no trouble with haven defenses to speak of. They really didn't have too much in the way of trouble with anything that we threw them up against. And while they are not quite as good as a level 7 soldier or even a level 7 soldier team, they have a lot of extra flexibility in a couple of areas. Number one, the ability to just send them out with maximum stats on their first run is just huge. Having speed 20, willpower 20, 350 point soldiers, they're so tough and they're fast and they can use their abilities a lot. And I think that makes up a lot for their not having the level 7 abilities that the soldiers have and not being able to multi-class. I was really impressed. I really enjoyed playing with them. I really liked how they performed. And I think that it was the right choice to build that Mutoid team. I could have designed them slightly better probably, but I was still pretty happy even with the skills that I had given them and how I'd built them. I think they did well. Second thing, I think we did a good job not overextending ourselves. We had basically 4 major regions that we were protecting. We had basically Eastern Asia, we had Europe, we had Northern Africa, mostly. We were able to get down here, but we didn't ever really have too much trouble down here in Southern Africa. And then we had North and Central America, and just the north side of South America. So those were the few regions that we had to protect. We had 4 teams to do it, 4 major regions. It worked out well. We didn't overextend trying to cover Australia. South America was basically already dead before we got here, so that was kind of decided for us. Same with Antarctica. There's a few havens here in Antarctica. They're just dead. I mean, they're there's a citadel here for sure somewhere, and it would just destroyed everything before we even came close to getting down here. So, but I think it's important to realize in this game, you can't save everybody, and you can really get yourself into some trouble if you're trying to overextend and trying to cover so much more than you really have the manpower to cover, because your planes are only so fast. And things get a little bit better when you get the research done where they don't take damage for the first 4 hours that they're being attacked. That actually helps a lot. We missed a lot of Haven defenses by just a hair. I remember there was one of these, I think it was this one up here. Our Manticore was here when the Haven was destroyed, and it had come from clear down here. So it was very close, but we didn't quite make it to save it. So I think that was fine, though. I think we did, like I said, we did a nice job, I think, of not overextending. And like I said, you can't save everybody in this game. You got to pick your fights. You got to pick where you want to fight, right? We never opened this base. We never came down here. We never opened up Australia. We tried to open this, but we never really had it open to the point where we could do anything with it. And by the time we did, we did later in the game, but by the time we did, there was nothing left down here to protect. So there was no point, you know. I think PHB 1 got attacked 2 or 3 times, and we were just like, there's nothing there. Go ahead, attack it. Who cares? So I think that was good. We did a good job of also keeping the factions from going to war with each other too early. And that's based mostly on the research that we picked. And we didn't help any of the factions, even though we were aligned with them all, or allied with them all. We didn't ever really push them to the point where they were ready to go to war. It was Anu that went to war first with New Jericho. New Jericho declared war on everybody shortly after that. But that was just in episode 101 and 102, just the last 2 episodes. And by the time they went to war with each other, we were pretty much ready to come up here and kill the Ugothian entity. So they didn't really have any time to hurt each other. And I think that went really well. I've had other games where they went to war earlier because I basically pushed them to it with my research, because or they end up doing better with their research and they can do it, get there themselves. But it becomes a real problem if you have to start saving 6 or 7 havens a day, and it's a big problem. And if you don't do it, well, your population is going to just drop and drop and drop, because like I was saying in a couple of episodes previous, they're just ruthless. There's no prisoners taken, no nothing. They attack a haven and they wipe it out, and all those people are dead. And so it'll drain your bar really quick if you start letting them do that. So last thing I think that we did really well was our economy. We were almost never in a position where we couldn't get what we needed, right? There was a couple of times, I think, where we were down to low enough resources that we didn't have a choice. We had to sell off some, scrap some items, or sell off our Air Force airplane modules that we weren't using and stuff, so that we could get enough materials, enough resources back to actually start trading again. But I think that wasn't very many times that happened. And for the most part, we really did have the resources we needed to do the things we needed to get done, right? And we ended up the game, I wasn't focusing on anything, so our ending resources aren't really that high. They could have been much higher. One thing I could have done was make another Manticore besides the ones that I did make. I could have actually had one more that was just trading, because Charlie team, especially more towards the later part of the campaign, they really started kind of pulling triple duty with being the interceptor and the trader when the behemoth wasn't around, and there was a few fights they had to go take. I don't think they were ever really a solid team, because they just didn't get the fights that they needed to get the experience that they needed. But they ended up kind of just being the rovers, being the go-getters, just do whatever you can, intercept the bad guys in the air, hound the behemoth. And when you're not doing that, when he's underwater, go trade. And so I think Charlie team suffered from that quite a bit. We put Charlie team together reasonably late in the game too, though. So by the time they were in motion and ready to fight, the fights were pretty hard. And so probably, I don't know, I could have done better with Charlie team probably, but that wasn't the worst. They were in the area. If a Haven had come under attack and they had to, they could have put their big boy pants on and they could have taken care of it. It would have been a rough fight, but they could have done it. So I was pretty happy with the economy most of the way through the game. There's a couple times, like I said, where I just overextended just a little bit more than I should have. But for the most part, I thought the economy went really well. So that was kind of my thoughts on what went good, what went not so great. Let's take one look at our memorial. We have a few soldiers that we want to talk about. Fabiana. We lost Fabiana in a lair. She basically sacrificed herself to save Matilda, and an Arthron got her after she missed his claw on what should have been a guaranteed hit. I went back and looked at the video, and the entire, as far as I could see, the entire targeting circle was on the arm. And for some reason she missed the shot, and the Arthron came up and killed her. So that was unfortunate, but it happened. Luis, I just messed up with Luis. He died in the overrun mission where we first saw the first Acheron, and the Acheron had summoned up a whole bunch of, what was it, shield bearer champions and so on. And he was bleeding, and I forgot until it was too late. And so he just bled out, and that was 100% my fault. That was just Jeric not paying attention. It was unfortunate. Turl and Eileen both ended up getting mind controlled in a mission. There was a third soldier, and I think it was Ivan. I'm not 100% sure. I think it was Ivan was on that mission with them, and Ivan got mind controlled. And so they were trying to hunt down the Siren to get rid of the mind control. And what I didn't know was that the AI, the computer, had run Ivan off the map. And so he wasn't even in the mission anymore when Turl and Eileen were still trying to hunt down that Siren. And they found it, and unfortunately they just couldn't do it. So it mind controlled one, and then the other, they were the only two left in the mission. So that was it. So that was another mission we had the Scarab on. That one, I think that was about the point where I was deciding maybe the Scarabs were kind of past their usefulness. So that was how that was. We lost a mutoid in a base defense to friendly fire. This was a mutoid that didn't have any stats or anything. It was just a brand new mutoid, just nothing at all. It had a gun. That was about it. If I remember right, what happened to this was a Triton shot one of our assaults. The assault returned fire and killed the mutoid in the return fire. So we didn't lose anything there, really. No points had been invested into it or anything like that. It just was an unfortunate, crossfire accident. So Mike, Hollywood Cash, we lost him in a Citadel trying to take down the Siren. I can't, or not the Siren, the Scylla rather. And he just kind of got into a bad spot. I put him in a bad spot thinking that he could tank it, and he ended up taking a little more heat than I thought he was going to. So Mike, sorry about that. My fault. But that was just how it went, and I made a mistake. Same thing with Blake Badger Haywood. He was killed in a Haven defense. He was an infiltrator, and he was hidden. And so that first turn, I did not get him into cover because he was hidden. And that was my mistake, because he got gooed down by an Acheron. And so he was stuck in the goo. I didn't have the goo repellers yet, obviously. And so he almost made it. But not quite. And because he wasn't in cover, there was a Triton with a Piranha that managed to finish him off. So Blake again, Blake Badger Haywood, that one was on me. I messed up. I should have had you in cover that very first turn, and I didn't do it. And that was kind of the beginning of the end. So overall, though, in a legend campaign like this, losing really 6 soldiers. I don't really count the mutoid. Losing 6 soldiers in a legend campaign total, I think, is not bad. So I was pretty happy with that. So here we got Fabiana, Luis Sanchez, Turl Razilov, Citizen Eileen, who we picked up with the gift mission, Mike Hollywood Cash, and Blake Badger Haywood. So those are our deaths in this mission, and they will be remembered. They fought hard and they helped us out along the way. So I think, guys, I don't have much else to say about this. I think overall the campaign went really well. I think it went really well, actually. So I'm not unhappy with anything. Like I said, there were a few things that could have been better, but I think overall we got the job done, and I think we handled everything pretty well. I don't think we had too much trouble with anything at all. So I really do hope you guys have enjoyed this. You guys have been with me on this run for about 5 months now. I started this in October, late October. I think it was the 24th when I first created this channel, actually, and I had no idea what I was doing. And so you guys have taken me from 0 subscribers. We're up to 800, just a hair over 800 while I'm recording this. And so this has been a great ride. You guys have been great. You guys have given me an awful lot of great feedback. Some of you were a little more boisterous about it than others, but that's okay. That's okay. Some of you were just downright, Jeric, you suck. Okay, nobody ever actually said that, but sometimes it felt like that was what it was. But it's okay. We're okay with that too. So, but I did want to thank you guys for all of your support, and you guys have been really, really great. And we're going to continue. Obviously, I'm not done, but this is kind of a milestone here. This is our first campaign done. 800 of you have subscribed, like I said, to my channel in about 5 months, give or take. And so this has been super, and you guys are awesome. Just wanted to let you guys know that. And I'm going to wrap it up here, but we are going to start a new playthrough, and it's going to be a surprise what it is, mostly because I haven't completely decided yet. I'm recording this several days before it's actually airing, so I've got time to figure it out, but we'll get it done. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up there. I know I've already said that, but thanks for watching, you guys. I really do appreciate all of you, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.